Hello students of class 11th, how are you? I hope you all are good. So dear students, today we are going to read chapter 5th Mother's Day in your supplementary reader snapshots. So dear students, before beginning, so you all are requested to take out your book and open your book at page number 32. Chapter 5th Mother's Day, written by J.B. Priestley. Mother's Day, written by J.B. Priestley. So before beginning, let me give you a small introduction to this chapter. Dear students, this chapter has been written in the form of a play. The writer J.B. Priestley wants to convey a very beautiful message through this chapter. He tells us how we treat a housewife, how a housewife gives her service for 24/7, but in return she gets nothing. In this story, Mrs. Pearson is the housewife who stands with her family 24/7, but in return she gets nothing. Even she is not respected. She does not get respect. Her son and daughter, they do not talk to her in a proper manner, let alone the respect. Even they don't talk to her in a proper manner. Even though she has no complaint, she keeps on worrying about them. She always keeps on worrying about them. But her neighbor, Mrs. Fitzgerald, she doesn't like it. And Mrs. Fitzgerald wants to bring each and every member of Mrs. Pearson's family on a right path. Mrs. Fitzgerald, she wants Mrs. Pearson to be respected in her family, by her family members, by her son, daughter and husband. So that is why she came across an idea, and she has also ability of changing the personality. She has learnt some magical, you can say here some using how to use some magical powers, some magical mantras. With the help of those mantras, one can change one's personality, and the same happens in this chapter. So Fitzgerald takes the personality of Mrs. Pearson and she gives her personality to her. Both exchanged their personality. Mrs. Fitzgerald becomes Mrs. Pearson and Mrs. Pearson becomes Mrs. Fitzgerald. Who did it? Mrs. Fitzgerald. Because she knew, she had learnt how to use some magical mantras to change one's personality. Some magical powers here, some magics you can say here. So dear students, this chapter tells us the condition of each housewife So very beautifully in the form of play, J.B. Priestley wants to convey what problem a housewife faces and what does she deserve. In the end of the play, we will come to know that we must respect a housewife, because without housewife a family cannot survive. But what happens in a family? A housewife gets no respect, gets no value. The member of the family, they do not give her any value. They give her no value. So this is the issue which J.B. Priestley raises in this chapter in a humorous way. This play is also a humorous play. So let us go through this play and enjoy the play and come to know how beautifully he tries to tell us the condition of a housewife. Okay students, so before beginning, you all please write down some difficult words which I have written on the board and their meanings from page number 32. Portrayal. Portrayal means a depiction of someone. First word is portrayal. Portrayal means a depiction of someone. Second word is suburb. Suburb means an outlying district of a city, that is called suburb. Third one, semi-detached. Semi-detached means joined to another house with a common wall, that is semi-detached. Okay. Muslin. Muslin means lightweight cotton cloth. Muslin means lightweight cotton clothes. So these are some words from page number 32. So please note them down, and you had better to write them in your book. So it will help you whenever you will read out your book, you will come across the meaning of these words. So simply you can understand you can comprehend the book easily if you will do it. I hope you people have written now. I am going to start. So I will read out and explain. Chapter 5th, Mother's Day, written by J.B. Priestley. The following play is a humorous portrayal of the status of the mother in a family. The following play is a humorous portrayal, is a humorous depiction of a lady of a family. Let's read on to see how Mrs. Pearson's family reacts when she tries to stand up for her own rights. Yes, so let us read and come to know how Mrs. Pearson's family reacts when she starts asking for her own rights. So as during introduction I told you that it was not real Mrs. Pearson, it was Mrs. Fitzgerald who took the form of Mrs. Pearson and went to her home and started asking for her right. Her right means here Mrs. Pearson's right. Okay, so when she started asking for her rights, so she came across many difficulties. So how she was treated in this chapter. So let us go through and come to know the characters in this story. Mrs. Annie Pearson, daughter of Mrs. Pearson. George Pearson, son of Mrs. Pearson. Doris Pearson, students, Mrs. Annie Pearson is housewife, is mother. Sorry, once again. Mrs. Annie Pearson, housewife, mother. George Pearson, Mrs. Annie Pearson's son. Doris Pearson, Mrs. Annie Pearson's daughter. Cyril Pearson, Mrs. Annie Pearson's husband. And Mrs. Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald is the neighbor of Mrs. Pearson. Okay, students? The action takes place in the living room of the Pearsons' house in a London suburb. So this action, this play, in the beginning it takes place in a living room of the Pearsons' house. This play takes place in the living room of the Pearsons' house in a London suburb. So her house, it is shown on the stage in the play that her house in the London suburb. In suburb means an outlying district of a city. Time present. Scene: the living room of a Pearson, of the Pearson family. So what is in the scene? So the living room of the Pearson family. Afternoon, it is the time of afternoon. It is a comfortably furnished, much lived in room in a small suburban semi-detached villa. If necessary, only one door need to be used, but it is better with two, one up left leading to the front door and the stairs, and the other in the right wall leading to the kitchen and the back door. So this is how the scene has been planned. So here it is a living room of Pearson family. It is the time of afternoon. It is a comfortably furnished, much lived in room in a small suburban semi-detached. Semi-detached means, I told you, it was a house in which a wall is common into houses, joined to other house. If necessary, only one door need to be used, but it is better with two. So in order to stage this play, so one door or both can be used. And in the right wall leading to the kitchen and the back door, there can be a muslin covered, a lightweight cotton cloth covered window in the left wall, and possibly one of the right wall too. The fireplace is assumed to be in the fourth wall. There is a settee means, sofa. There is a sofa upright, an armchair down left, one down right. So it is how the scene was there on the stage. How you can plan if you have to stage this play, and how it has been staged in this play. A small table with two chairs on either side of it stands at the center. So now let me write some difficult word from page number 33, then I'll explain it. Saucers means, a shallow dish. Sinister means menacing. Flurried means agitated or nervous. Cockney means a native of East London. Okay, so please note them down. So I hope you have noted them down. Now look at page number 33. Sorry. When the curtain rises, when the play starts, when the curtain rises, it is an afternoon in early autumn and the stage can be well lit. So it is an afternoon or in early autumn and the stage can be well lighted. Mrs. Pearson at right. When curtain rises, Mrs. Pearson is sitting at right and Mrs. Fitzgerald at left. And Mrs. Fitzgerald is sitting at left. Are sitting opposite each other at the small table. They both are sitting opposite each other at the small table, on which are 2 teacups and saucers and the cards with which Mrs. Fitzgerald has been telling Mrs. Pearson's fortune. So on the table, what can be seen? A saucer, a shallow dish, a plate, you can say here, a plate and some cards. With the help of those cards, Mrs. Fitzgerald was telling the future of Mrs. Pearson. Mrs. Pearson is a pleasant but worried looking woman. Mrs. Pearson is a pleasant, she has a pleasant personality, but she is worried looking woman in her 40s. So she was in her 40s. Mrs. Fitzgerald is older, heavier and a strong and sinister personality. So Mrs. Fitzgerald had a menacing personality. She was heavier, her voice was heavier, okay, and she was older. She is smoking and Mrs. Fitzgerald is smoking in the first scene of the play when the curtain rises. It is very important that these two should have sharply contrasting voices. So it is very important to act this play, to stage this play. It is very important the both women should have a contrasting voices. Okay, one has the heavier and the other one has the softer voice. Okay, so they are sharply contrasting voices, the writer tells us. Mrs. Pearson speaking in a right furied sort of tone with a touch of suburban Cockney perhaps. So here Mrs. Pearson speaks in a agitated, nervous tone. Mrs. Pearson speaks in a nervous tone, and which was like, a Londoner, a person who lives in outskirts of London. Okay. And Mrs. Fitzgerald with a deep voice, rather Irish perhaps, and Mrs. Fitzgerald's accent is Irish. Okay, so it is all about the scene and character. Okay students, now let us go through the play. Mrs. Fitzgerald collecting up the cards. By collecting up the cards, Mrs. Fitzgerald said, "And that's all I can tell you, Mrs. Pearson." So she said, and that's all I can tell you. When the play starts, when curtain rises, the first conversation which the audience could see So it was between Mrs. Fitzgerald and Mrs. Pearson, in which Mrs. Pearson told her that he could tell her. Could be a good fortune. She told her it could be a good fortune, could be a bad one. So she was informing that she was able to tell the fortune, whether it could be a good or bad. All depends on yourself now. She said, you can make your fortune well or good or bad. It depends on you. Make up your mind, and there it is. She said, if you make up your mind, then everything will become easy. So here with this conversation we have come across that Mrs. Fitzgerald was telling something Mrs. Pearson. She wanted to make her realize. Okay, so how she was motivating, she was encouraging, she was telling her the way how she could change her destiny. Mrs. Pearson, what she replied? Yes, thank you, Mrs. Fitzgerald. I am much obliged. She thanked and said, I am much obliged. I am sure it's wonderful having a real fortune teller. And further, she said, it's really wonderful having such a real fortune teller living next door. So, living my neighbor, it's a very wonderful thing to have such a wonderful fortune teller. Did you learn that out east too? So here, Mrs. Pearson is avoiding what Mrs. Fitzgerald was telling her. She was distracting Mrs. Fitzgerald from that point, and she started saying that, so where had you learned about all this? Okay, so did you learn that out east? So this art of fortune telling, from where did you learn? Okay, so Mrs. Pearson was trying to distract her, Mrs. Fitzgerald, from the point which she was telling her. Okay students, now open next page. Let me write the meaning of some difficult word, then I will explain the next page. The first word is apologetically. Apologetically means regretfully. Apologetically means regretfully. And dubiously. Dubiously means with hesitation or doubt. Apologetically means regretfully. Dubiously means with hesitation or doubt. Okay students, so I hope you people have written. So open page number 34 in your book now. Mrs. Fitzgerald, I did 12 years I had of it. Further, when Mrs. Pearson asked about her fortune telling art, she told her she did 12 years I had of it. She said it took 12 years to learn this art of fortune telling. With my old man rising to be lieutenant quartermaster, she said, I learned with my old man rising to be. So here she is saying that she learned with she learned with her husband, which was a lieutenant quartermaster. He learnt a lot, and I learnt a lot more. And she informed he also learnt a lot, and I learnt a more. But will you make up your mind now, Mrs. Pearson dear? Again, Mrs. Fitzgerald, she came on the point. Mrs. Pearson was avoiding. She wanted to change her discussion, but once again, Mrs. Fitzgerald started, her conversation from where she had left, from where she had started her conversation. But Mrs. Pearson was avoiding. She did not want to talk on that point. So once again she said, so will you make up your mind now, Mrs. Pearson dear? Put your foot down once and all for all, and be the mistress of your own house and the boss of your own family. So he said, Mrs. Pearson dear, put your foot down now. You need to be rigid, you need to be strict, and once and for all, and be the mistress of your own house, be the mistress of your own house, and be the boss of your own family. So these lines tell us that what she really meant, what she wanted Mrs. Pearson to do. She wanted Mrs. Pearson to live like a mistress. Mrs. Pearson smiling apologetically. She was smiling regretfully. That's easier said than done. And she said, it is easy to say, but it is difficult to be done. Besides, I am so fond of them, even if they are thoughtless and selfish. She said, I take care of them very much. I am very fond of them. I cannot hurt them. Mrs. Pearson told Mrs. Fitzgerald that she could not hurt any member of her family, even though they are thoughtless and selfish, but she was ready to accept them as they were. They don't mean to be Mrs. Fitzgerald. Now, Mrs. Pearson actually was not ready to go against her family members, but Mrs. Fitzgerald was compelling her to do so. Mrs. Pearson cutting in, stopping her in. Maybe not, but it would be better for them if they learned to treat you properly. Fitzgerald said, it would be better for them if they would learn how to treat with you properly. Mrs. Pearson, yes, I suppose it would in a way. He said, yes, I suppose. Okay, but means she was avoiding the conversation. Okay. Mrs. Fitzgerald, no doubt about it at all. Who is the better for being spoiled, grown man, lad or girl? So she said, no doubt about it all. Who is the better for being spoiled, grown man, lad or girl? Nobody. You think it doesn't them good when you run after them all the time. So you are thinking that by running after them all the time, you are doing good with them. Take their orders as if you were the servant in the house, and you take their orders as if you are the servant in the house. Stay at home every night while they go out enjoying themselves. You stay at home every night while they go out and enjoy. Never in all your life. It's the ruin of them as well as you. So it will destroy them as well as you. Husbands, sons, daughters should be taking notice of wives and mothers, not giving them orders and treating them like dirt. So she further told her that a husband should respect his wife, a son should respect his mother, a daughter should respect her mother. They should not give order. They should not treat a housewife like a dirt, and don't tell them that you don't know what I mean, and don't tell me that, and don't say that you don't know what I am saying. You know very well what I am saying, for I know more than you have told me, and what you have told me I know more than that. Mrs. Pearson dubiously, Mrs. Pearson with hesitation, with doubt. I keep dropping a hint. She said, I will keep dropping a hint. Mrs. Fitzgerald, hint? It's more than hints your family needs, Mrs. Pearson. She said, Mrs. Pearson, your family needs more than the hint. Only hint won't work. They need more than hint. Mrs. Pearson dubiously, Mrs. Pearson once again in hesitation. I suppose it is, but I do hate any unpleasantness. He said, I suppose it's true, I know, but I hate any type of unpleasantness in my house. And it's so hard to know where to start. And it is very hard to know from where I should start. I keep making up my mind to have it out with them, but somehow I don't know how to begin. I keep on making my mind that I should teach them a lesson, that they should behave with me properly in a proper manner, but I don't know how to start, how to begin. She glances at her watch or at a clock. So she looked at her watch or clock, and oh, good gracious, look at the time. Nothing ready, and they will be home any minute, and probably all in a hurry to go out again. She said, oh, it's too late, and they were about to come, and then they will be going back. So now, here she once again was in a hurry. She started worrying about them, and she said, they might come at any time and nothing is ready. So here once again it shows that how worried she was about them. Okay students, it's all about page number 34. So next some other paragraphs I will explain in my next video. So thank you students for watching. So do the proper revision, and you should go through all hard words and their meanings. Okay students, so thank you and see you tomorrow.